What's up, fam? It's Brian Castrillo. Just watched Daredevil Born Again, episode 7, titled Art for Art's Sakes. Another amazing episode. Let's get down to business and talk about it. There will be spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's talk about it. Let's have fun with it. And we got another amazing episode from Daredevil. And right from the beginning, we're reminded how Kingpin said to Daredevil, "Should you go back to your old activities, there will be consequences." I know that was horrible, but it was a reminder because it was a big moment, and we know how much he does not like Daredevil, and he's speaking on how the city is like basically held by fear, and how he doesn't like this, and how he wants to get rid of vigilantes. And then he is basically informed of how Daredevil saved Angela Del Toro, of course, White Tiger's niece, from use. And you could see he's visibly upset by this. He does not like this because he remembers saying that to Daredevil, and how he warned him how, you can't be doing this in my city. And then we see Angela Del Toro, just a refresher how she was saved by Daredevil from use, and she's in the hospital kind of remembering this. She's having flashbacks. And then we see Heather. She walks in on Daredevil, basically Matt Murdock, in the shower, and we see like this big bruise and cut on his back, and she notices it, and they do their thing, and then after that she starts asking questions, and what happened, where is this going, and kind of getting down to his trauma. Then we see Cherry. He confronts Matt walking in the office, and he's basically upset of him for getting back to Daredevil and attacking Muse, saying, "What are you doing? You don't want to go back to that life. If you do, I'm kind of out." Then we see Fist talking about how Daredevil ruined his entire business, went after his people, and basically destroyed everything that he worked for. And this kind of back and forth from the scenes is done very well. And Fist talking about this, how Daredevil ruined it, is basically getting down to why he has such angst and hatred towards Daredevil, because he ruined everything that he has, and he doesn't want him basically ruining what he's doing now. And he wants to protect the city from anyone who steps outside the law, basically kind of threatening Daredevil. And then we see detectives going through Muse's kind of base of operations. We see his victims hanging up. We see the different photos, or not photos, but basically murals or pictures that he created, and all the different things that he has out. And Marvel, this needs to be a horror movie, or maybe a series, because what we see in his base of operation is creepy as shit. If you don't do this is a missed opportunity. You can lead it right into the series, but my God, make this a horror movie. Muse is an amazing character. But anyways, we see detectives going through the base of operations. Then we see Luca, kind of that mafia character, and he's meeting with Vanessa, and Luca basically infers to her, maybe it's time for a change, and kind of hinting at, to take out Kingpin. And we just kind of see a look on Vanessa. She almost like she's agreeing to this. Now we see Detective Angie Kim. She's talking to Fisk about Bash and Cooper, who is basically Muse, but she can't confirm it. She's talking about his past, how he studied Taekwondo, and kind of his troubled past, and how she believes that this could be him. Then now we're getting a back and forth, because then we go to Bash and Cooper, and he's talking with Heather and talking about, again, his Taekwondo, his past, and how he always just wanted to be an artist, but his parents forced him into doing these Taekwondo matches, and it just really bothered him, and he just wanted the city to see him for who really is. And we get a back and forth between Angela talking to Fisk, Heather talking to Bash and Cooper, and eventually he gives credit, Bash and Cooper does, to Heather for basically bringing this out and allowing him to be who he really is. And it's starting to get really creepy in this conversation. Then you see his nose bleeding, and then we go back to Angie, and she basically confirms Daredevil was there at the fight, when you basically saving Angela Del Toro, not Angela, yeah, And then we go back to Bastion Cooper, the nosebleed, and he's starting to draw like this, basically a picture of Muse on this paper. Heather notices it, and she's starting to get creeped out because she's starting to figure it out, and and um and then she starts getting scared. We go back to Angie Kim talking to Fisk, and this is done very, very great. The parallels between these conversations was great, and in fact, throughout the entire series, they did very well at paralleling various characters. But now we see she knows it's him, and he basically now attacks Heather. He hooks her up. How he's getting ready to draw her blood. He cuts her arm. She's bleeding. He's getting ready to basically attack her. And then we see Daredevil. He drops in Muse's hideout at the same time, and he's feeling like the different not photos, I keep saying that, but basically his artwork, and he's feeling it, and he's starting to realize that this is Heather that he's going after next. So he's like, he takes off, but then right before, the Officer Powell comes in, and Daredevil throws something at his weapon at him, knocks him out, but he eventually calls Fisk and lets him know that, who basically Daredevil is going after, and talks about Heather now. And Fisk is basically telling him, you guys are the line of defense. We don't need to tell anybody. Just handle this business. You guys take care of this. Then right as Muse is about to basically take her out, Heather calls him a coward, says only people with masks are basically, who use masks are cowards. Of course, doesn't realize who that is. And then he starts attacking her. He slams her on the ground, and then right then Daredevil comes through at the last second, dives through the window, and we get this intense, very excessive, brutal fight between the two. And there was one moment where he grabbed a knife and he was going to lunge at Heather, and then Daredevil threw basically kind of like this chain and this knife, it sticks right through him, pulls him back, and they're going back and forth, an incredibly brutal fight. And then Heather ends up shooting him, taking him out just as the cops are coming in. And this was kind of interesting at the end. Then the cops come in, and the cop goes to Fisk, confirms that Daredevil was there, and because they saw Muse was dead and Heather was basically knocked out, but she was taken care of so she can go to the hospital. But Fisk says, no, Daredevil was not there. You don't tell anybody this. You guys are the heroes. Because he basically is trying to control the narrative, and he doesn't want people getting excited for Daredevil saving the city. He wants to be basically look like the good guy. Now we see Daniel Blake, Fisk's main guy, but he's also friends with BB Urich, and she's about to, tell the story about how Daredevil was there, but he basically threatens her, his own friend, and says, if you do this, if your life is going to be shit. If you say that Daredevil is there, your life is going to be shit. But if you say that the cops did it, then, you're going to have this fantastic life, and you're going to be taken care of. And you could see the look on her face. She was not happy because they were supposed to be friends. But he has this unhealthy kind of obsession with Kingpin, and he's basically thrown his friend out the window. Then we see Vanessa, and she texts that mafia guy, and basically gives the address of where Fisk is sitting at, having dinner alone. And this was a wild scene because he gets in the car, he drives over there, you see Fisk, he's eating his dinner alone, looks like he's all by himself. He walks in, he pulls out the gun like he's going to take out Fisk, and then Fisk, his right-hand man, comes out of the shadow and takes him out instantly. And then we see he says basically, can you ask Vanessa if she wants me to bring her home some Soleil Minere? I don't really know how to say that, but basically whatever he was eating. So clearly he knows that she met up with him, and she was trying to kill him. So that's interesting. But what do you guys think? Did you love the episode? I'll see you in the next one. Love you guys.